Are you new here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, and do you want to learn how to spawn a great one off of LAYTON Lakes? One of the 2 free maps that everybody has right off the bat here in Call of the Wild. Well, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys 3 really easy ways to spawn a great one whitetail or a great one moose here in LAYTON Lakes. Now, it's going to be more focused on whitetail, but one of these methods can be used to grind both moose and whitetail, and it's arguably the most easy method right off the bat. So if you guys are new here, you're watching the right YouTube channel for Call of the Wild content. My name is Squid. I'm known for extreme simplicity and extreme detail here in my guides on YouTube. There's so much overcomplicated videos out there on great one grinding, and I'm here to tell you guys that it's not a chore like a lot of other videos make it seem. It's a beautiful part of this game. And by the end of this video, anyone will be able to go out there and grind for the great one. So without further ado, guys, as always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Gaming, and wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive into today's banger. Okay guys, look at that sunshine. It's just such a beautiful morning here in LAYTON Lakes. The very first method that we're going to talk about here today is a method that I like to call the feeder method. It's pretty self-explanatory. This method utilizes the game Feeders DLC. Now, we're going to cover some methods that don't require DLC here in a little bit, so if you can't get DLC, just work with me for a second, or maybe you can fast forward a little bit. But still, this is very cool to understand, and this is a super efficient method. Essentially, what I did is I set it to 6 a.m. And 6 a.m. is right in the middle of whitetail feed time and moose feed time. This is that method that you can also use to grind moose, which I talked about here a couple minutes ago. And what I did was I went ahead and set up a bunch of different feeders. Actually, 8 specifically, because 8 is the amount that you can place on your map. There's an 8 feeder limit, unfortunately. But most grinds utilize 8 drink zones anyway, so this is just perfect. You guys can take a screenshot of where I have my feeders set up at. Essentially, what you're going to want to do is set them up in locations that moose and whitetail commonly drink at, or rest at. You'll find whitetail resting and feeding up along sides of this river system here. You'll find them drinking at these lakes. You'll also find them drinking at the water sources in these river systems here. So all these locations that I have my 8 feeders set up at, especially this one here, this is a goated location. High Lake is like arguably the best place to hunt whitetail on the whole map. All these feeder locations will work perfectly. I haven't had any issues with them. My respawns are super consistent. And that's literally all you have to do, guys. Set up with, well, at least for most of these locations, I don't even use tents, just the tripod. Tripod and then my feeder. You can set it up by an outpost. There's a lot of outposts up this river system here. Certain locations like this one, I do have a tent, because obviously I would have had to run from this outpost, which is probably over a kilometer to my tripod there. And this method is so efficient, my friends. Watch this. I'm going to shoot this buck, then I'm going to get these 2 bulls, or at least I'm going to try to, no promises. As soon as he moves his head, it's a nice little level 2. Yoink, yoink, and yoink. That was a long, nice. We also got that bull, and we dropped that white-tailed deer buck. Look at that. Good shooting right off the bat this morning. And literally, that's all you're going to want to do. Set up at those 8 zones, shoot the moose, shoot the whitetail. Once you claim them, it's very important that you claim them, because if you don't claim them, they will not respawn as great ones. Only claimed harvest can come back as a great one. So even if you have to track a little bit, it's completely fine. You can just set the time back if you need to. Usually, if you're using the 300 for just those common non-trophy animals, you won't have any issues. With the moose you might, but with the whitetail you really don't have to worry about it. Just make sure if you spawn a diamond or a rare whitetail you shoot it with the proper gun, because if you don't you'll mess it up and not get trophy integrity. I use a great big gun for shooting just the common whitetail because it takes them down faster, but obviously this gun is ethical for moose. Actually got a heart shot there, holy. Beautiful left lung heart, $1,000 for the first kill of the day. Now that male could very well come back as a great one. Believe me, my shortest grind of all time was only 2 kills. It is very possible. This white-tailed deer buck, 615, would have been a decent silver there, but obviously I obliterated him with a 300, so I didn't have to worry about tracking him. He can very well come back as a great one. And also that other moose that I got a single lung on, this moose can very well also come back as a great one. And just like that, that's 3 kills down, 2 moose and 1 whitetail. We're essentially dual grinding here, which is kind of overpowered, I'm not going to lie. That went very well. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead, drop a waypoint on my tripod, and move on to my next feeder that I have set up. Now, like I said, about 6 a.m. is the sweet spot, and the feeder that I'm using, or the feed that I'm using, excuse me, is the fortified pellet feed. That is the one that you want to use. It'll attract both moose and whitetail, obviously. And from this point, you just want to rotate through the feeders until you get to about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And the reason for this is because whitetails start drinking Look at the amount of animals that are here. This is ridiculous, dude. Whitetail will go to their drink zones and leave the feeders at about 8 because they drink from 8 until 12 here in Layton Lakes. So yeah, just grind your feeders till about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Once you make it, set the time back to 6 and continue rotating. This isn't even the best zone either. My zone down south at the beginning here, it'll have like 15 bulls and a whole pack of whitetail in it. It's insane. Or a whole herd of whitetail, excuse me, they're not wolves. Come on, Squid. And yeah, this is literally what I'm doing. I've shot hundreds and hundreds of animals here in Layton Lakes doing this method. It's super relaxing for some reason. Like when I get bored, I'll come do it. I guess there's nothing better than Layton Lakes at 6 a.m. with a beautiful sunrise. I mean, it's a good time, I will say. It's definitely not a boring thing. There's always something new. There's turkeys around, whitetail around, coyotes around. You're gonna see so many more animals than what's just strictly at your feeders. Like, look at that. We got a whole flock of turkeys flying over here. Let's grab that buck real quick. I could have been way quieter, and I could have not spooked those moose, but it's whatever. I'm recording a video. And yeah, that's literally what I'm doing. Just rotate through your feeders that you got set up, and shoot every single male that you see. Don't forget to claim them. I see a lot of people shoot animals and not claim them. You want a great one to spawn. Remember that. That's kind of what we're doing here. Okay guys, so the second method that we're going to talk about here today on how to spawn a whitetail great one, easily here in Layton Lakes, that anybody can do. This is the one that legitimately anyone can do. There's no DLC required for this. All you need is a gun to shoot whitetail with, and probably the majority of Layton Lakes unlocked so that way you can jump around. A lot of people don't realize that to spawn a great one, it's legitimately just as simple. Next shot. Dang it, I tried. It's literally just as simple as shooting and claiming males. There's a lot of methods out there and a lot of videos out there that overcomplicate the absolute crap out of it. And as a beginner player, herd managing, setting up with tents and tripods, not everybody has tent and tripod DLC, you know? Finding all your drink zones, stuff like that is just too complicated. And a lot of videos out there really just leave you with nowhere to start. So that's exactly where I come in. Like I said at the beginning, I'm known for extreme simplicity here on YouTube. If you're a beginner player and you just want a great one, coming out here in Layton Lakes, using the hotspot map that's on screen for you guys right now, at whitetail deer drink time, which I have the time set to 11 o'clock because they drink from 8 until 12, so that leaves me with 1 in-game hour to hunt their drink time. Simply running around and going to those highlighted water sources, and shooting every buck that you see will spawn you a great one. The amount of time that a great one takes to spawn, or the amount of kills that it takes for a great one to spawn, is completely random. It could be 1 kill, it could be 10,000 kills. That number is completely randomly generated by your computer, and there's no way to alter it. So simply just by coming out here and shooting males, every time you shoot and claim one, there's a chance it can come back as a great one. And what I would suggest to you to try to stay efficient here is when you hit one water source, don't come back to it until you've hit every other water source. So for example, start at this lake here, maybe hit all the lakes first, run the river, run the center river, run Ball Mount, run the bottom coast, and then repeat. Now obviously, you're not going to be able to do this all in one time reset. It's going to take you a couple time resets to run everything, or at least the vast majority of everything. But hunting a good variety of locations for whitetail on your map is exactly what you want to do to be able to spawn a great one. Is this going to be as efficient as setting up with tents and tripods? No. Is this going to be as efficient as herd managing? No. But my 40-some-year-old dad did this in Medved Taiga, which is arguably one of the most difficult great one grinds in the entire game. The moose grind is... there's 130 drink zones for it, if that says anything. And what did he do? He simply just hunted them. There's so much overcomplicated videos out there. He literally just ran around and shot bull moose. Over in Medved, 270 some kills later, bang, 2-tone spider rack. He only has like 200 hours into the game, and most of that's just from casual hunting. It doesn't matter what level you shoot. It does if you're going to herd manage, but stick around for that here in just a second. Doesn't matter how many you shoot, as long as you're running around and you're consistently shooting and claiming males, eventually a great one will spawn. You have my word. It's just a matter of continuing to shoot and never giving up. Again, you want to be hunting their drink time for this method, and I'll show you guys that hotspot map one more time on screen. Run all those highlighted areas as much as you possibly can. And one of these days, I mean, you're going to go to get on, and I mean, it could be 10 minutes later, after you do your first run. There could very well be a white-tailed deer great one on your map right now, simply just by shooting and claiming males. Can't tell you the amount of people that I have in my Discord server that said they shot only like 10 whitetail and they found a great one. They're freaking out. Yeah, it happens quite a lot. Not every grind is going to be, 3, 4, 5,000 kills. My shortest grind ever, like I said earlier, was 2 kills. It was a great one wolf. 2 kills. I had a 10 kill black bear great one grind. A 40 kill fallow deer grind. But then again, I'm over 20,000 kills into a black bear grind right now. Been grinding them since June. Kind of absurd, I know. But that number is just random. I mean, it's just a matter of getting out there, in the simplest way to put it at least, shooting and claiming males. So that is method number 2. The third and final method here today we're going to talk about. We're going to kind of be a little bit more detailed and make this method that I'm teaching you guys right now with drink zones way more efficient. Alright, my friends, so for this particular method, you guys are going to want to make sure that you do have tents and tripods in your inventory, because we are going to be using them for this method. This is how we're going to make it more efficient, which obviously, yes, is going to require the tent DLC and the tripod DLC. And this method for beginners is really where you kind of start to put your foot forwards and take a step into the efficient grinding world. Things like herd managing, shooting hundreds of deer per hour, etc. So, the very first thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and pick 8 drink zones. 8 drink zones that you like, obviously for white-tailed deer. We're going to use creepers. I got a lot of zones here. We're going to use this one. And as you pick these drink zones that you like, you're going to want to set up using this criteria I'm going to teach you here in just a second. Okay guys, so forgive me, this is kind of a really thick area. You wouldn't want to use this as a drink zone, but it's just going to be an example. Again, those 8 zones that you're picking, you want to be nice, wide open, lots of animals in them, just zones that you like in general. 8 white-tailed drink zones of your choice anywhere on the map. And what you're going to want to do is go ahead and drop a waypoint on your first zone of choice. You can do this as you find your 8 drink zones if you want. Just run around with tents and tripods on you. Once you have a waypoint on top of that zone, which I do right there, you're going to want to run 250 meters from the drink zone at a minimum. Can be 265, can be 270, shoot it can be 400. Wouldn't suggest that though, because you're going to waste a lot of time running. 250 is the sweet spot, so if you can get it right at 250, you might as well. Looks like it's going to work out pretty dang well for me. Just going to go ahead and drop this tent down right here. And that, my friends, obviously is where you're going to want to place your tent, about 250 meters from the zone, just like so there. And this is where you're going to spawn in to shoot this zone. That tent that you just placed 250 from the zone. Now what you're going to want to do is go ahead and run up to about 165 meters. And the reason I say, 250 for the tent and 165 for the tripod is because first and foremost, at about 230 meters, when you spawn into your tent, the animals will hear you spawn in and they'll spook. So anything 250 plus, you're in the safe spot. At about 164 meters from the drink zone, the animals that are down there drinking will start to hear you running. And obviously, you want to be able to run from your tent into your tripod without them having any idea that you're there, so that way you can wipe them right off the face of the earth. Okay, so yeah, like I said, this is a terrible example, but we're about 152 meters. They shouldn't hear me moving, but at about 160 meters, they will. So I might just have to slow down to a walk at about 160 meters and walk for 10 meters. That's like 30 seconds worth of walking, it ain't that big a deal. And if I were to actually set up here, this is what I'd be dealing with. I can see right down there where they're standing and drinking. They're not there, but right where that waypoint is where they stand at. As you can see, there's their drink zone. So I'd have to shoot around this tree. And that's why it's very important you find zones that are nice and wide open. There's a lot of them here in Layton. Frankly, you could set up on the other side. So like, instead of coming out of the woods, you could set up like over here or something and put your tripod right on the water's edge and then shoot across. Might be kind of a long shot, but that's why having a good scope like the Odin here from the Scopes and Crosshairs DLC will definitely help you out. Oh, look at this. Got some whitetail coming in. They're up in there. That must be why they're not there. They're still making their way to their drink zone, even though it's 10 minutes before their drink time ends. That's called wild for you. And from that point, you're literally set up. You want to repeat this process on 8 different drink zones. And from this point, technically, you could start rotating through those 8 zones, but you might not and probably won't be getting consistent respawns, and this is where it might turn into about a 25-30 minute guide. I have guides that explain consistent respawns and things like that extremely simply, just as simple as this guide, if not more simpler. I'll leave the link to a whitetail guide specifically down below. It's not going to be for Layton Lakes, but everything is the exact same despite the fact that it's a different map. In the sense of finding all your drink zones, getting consistent respawns, herd management is explained super simply in that video. It's all explained over in Alberta, Canada, but you can put that into effect here in Layton Lakes using the hotspot map that I showed you guys for whitetail drink zones here today. Oh crap, they were down here. It was just so thick that I couldn't see them. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh snap. Come here, boy. Messed him up. He's not diamond potential, I don't think, but man, he's got a good frame. That's another good one. Where in the world did these things come from? We smoked that one. Yeah, that one's going down. He had a better estimate too. Holy crap, that was funny. But hey, if this video did help you guys out, please let me know down below by smashing that like button and subscribing, as it is very, very much appreciated. And as a 16-year-old content creator, my goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. 50k, boys. We can do it. We're going to do it. We're on track too. We're getting about 4.5k per month. As long as we stay on track, we should be at 50,000 by the end of the year. And if this video helped you guys out, you might as well join the family, join the Squid Gang, go down there, hit that subscribe button, boys. Join the Discord server, there's thousands of people in there who'd be more than willing to help you on out. And look at this, an absolute monster to wrap up today's video. 213, okay, that's actually not a bad one at all. If he was wider and he had a little bit more circumference, he would have been way nicer. That's still a really, really good buck, though. As always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Gaming, and we'll catch you guys in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.